Thanks for joining. I'm Craig. I'm one of the BDR managers at Reachdesk, and pretty excited to speak with you today around how you can deliver some best practices. The aim of this is ultimately to get some creative juices flowing, share some ideas around strategy, so that you can get to grips with the tool and really start using it effectively, and especially with your outbound kind of prospecting, and start booking loads of meetings. A little bit about myself. So I started at Reachdesk coming up to 2 years ago as a BDR. Was fortunate to be one of the first ones here and have grown with the company and now look after one of the UK teams myself. Using Reachdesk was one of the highlights of my week. It enabled me to be super creative, to make a difference and actually do something a little bit different in my prospecting. And it was definitely one of probably the most effective tool that we used. And still to this day, we see the best results in the teams at Reachdesk. The guys and girls that see the highest success in their gifting are the ones that sit top of the leaderboard. So we see it as a really integral part of our outbound strategy at the moment. I think we'll probably do questions at the end, or if you've got anything kind of burning, chuck it in the chat, and I'm sure Leah can kind of manage that as we move on. So what we're gonna look at, we're gonna touch briefly on the kind of role of the BDR and the way that we see the market at the moment. I'll talk around some best practices. We'll talk about how we use it internally within our strategy. So we'll look at using it as part of sequences, as cadences, but also how you can use it just as an individual rep and kind of be empowered to do something a bit different. I'll take you through some examples as well of some of the really cool gifts that some of my team have sent. And there's a little bit of a piece where a workshop where we'll kind of dissect and build an always on campaign that hopefully will get you guys and girls thinking around some messaging and some potentially some gifts that you could get ingrained into your sequences. So hopefully you leave with something actionable and can start to implement it within your sequences or cadences. We'll talk about what good looks like and what happens next. So a bit around the follow-up. So that's what we hope to cover today. Like I say, any questions, just kind of shout. I'm sure Leah will manage the chat. So the BDR role at the moment, right? It's a pretty tough gig. We know last year in 2021, especially throughout the pandemic, and all of that was going on, there were record levels of investment into the tech space. Companies are expanding globally. People can work from anywhere, and there was this move away from like the traditional, just kind of California, North America market for SaaS businesses. There are now SaaS businesses popping up all over the world. I think last time I checked, there was something like millions of BDR roles around the world. So what that means is it's hugely busy. There are so many people that are vying for your prospects' attention. A couple of case studies, or a couple of kind of reports that I've read through. Salesloft did a piece recently around and suggested that kind of sales leaders and sales ops leaders believe that 82% of reps should be using more channels. So we've got to get more creative. People prospecting into enterprise accounts. Salesloft discovered that 65% of emails go unread, right? That's a huge amount of just work, just not being received by anyone. We did a study with Demandbase that actually suggested that 68% of our prospects that received a memorable business gift strengthen their relationship. And that's the aim of the game at the end of the day. Creating and strengthening relationships is really important and ultimately going to enable us to close more revenue. So what does that mean in terms of the trends and where the market is going and what we have to do? ABM is huge, right? Personalized, really creative experiences, delivering white glove treatment to top tier accounts that are high value, that are generate high revenue. Almost all marketing teams are looking to implement those types of strategies. And people are expecting personalization. If we're just sending kind of spray and pray marketing-led emails and calling based on clicks and not really delivering this personalized experience and personalized and tailored approach, then I think life is going to be tough as a BDR. So that's the way that we see the world. We think that spray and pray email marketing is genuinely a thing of the past. And right now, the way to be successful in this business development world is by delivering a multi-channel, a personalized approach. And if we do that and go above and beyond for our prospects, then hopefully we should be opening up more doors, helping our teams close more revenue. So that's the way that we see the world at Reachdesk at the moment. And ultimately that means it's a pretty tough gig. There's a whole load of people doing it, and the expectation of the quality and the personalization that our prospects want is super high. So we've got to do something a bit different. It's really worth noting that just sending gifts isn't the silver bullet to your strategy, right? Sending someone an Amazon voucher or a bottle of wine or a box of chocolates isn't really the reason that they're going to take the meeting and close business with you. But it can make you more memorable, right? It's another string to your bow. It gives you a chance to deepen that level of personalization and show your prospect that you care, and show them that you've gone that extra mile to gain their attention and stand out in their inbox, right? It's a chance to create a moment that matters, a chance for you to do something different other than the 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 other BDRs or SDRs that are approaching them for some time. It creates some intrigue, right? Something a little bit different. It changes their like normal workflow. They're doing something a bit different and they get a little gift. It puts a smile on their face. But ultimately, what it does is it opens the door to your solution. Like I said, it's not a silver bullet. This isn't the reason that they're going to take a meeting with you, but it can help you get to your value prop. It can help you share your ideas of how you think you can help them. And it gets to your solution. And if you've worked at a company that matches your ICP, you understand your persona's challenges. Using gifting in the right way can really open the door and can start that conversation. It's also really worth noting that it's not really about the value of the gift. It's not about spending loads of money and sending someone like a really high value gift. It's about the personalization and the care in your outreach. And it's also not genuinely all about sending the highest level of personalization, right? We don't always know whether someone's got a kid or a dog or what sports team they support or where they grew up or whatever. So this is a really quick example. This was sent by someone on my team to a new CMO, and the CMO shared it on LinkedIn. This email went absolutely like brilliantly for Poppy, one of our reps. She actually got about 10 new accounts off the back of people commenting on it. The only personalization that Poppy knew was that this guy was Australian and he used to live in New York. So she spent some time, she thought about the gift, and she crafted this beautiful email, right? Some really human points here, even the opening, good day, Ryan. And that personalization piece around him getting a new role showed that she'd done her research. You know, someone that was awarded 26th place on the world's most influential CMOs, right? That's really cool. She's done her research. And then here comes the gift, right? She creates a story. Here's another one for you. Being an Aussie in New York, I thought you might enjoy a little taste of home. Treat yourself to an Amazon voucher, and why not pick up these Tim Tams, which is really going to resonate with any people that have lived in Australia. And then it goes into kind of some challenge focused stuff, and it comes into our value prop. And like you can see that there's not a huge amount of personalization in here in terms of research, but she crafted a message around the idea of a gift, and you can see the kind of response on the right. I think to get a shout out from a CMO that sits that highly on some influential CMO lists is pretty cool. And it just shows the care and the attention. It's not the value of the gift. It was like a £10 or $10 Amazon voucher that created that interaction. That's just one cool little example. So best practices. We believe truly in the law of reciprocity. We don't believe in being transactional. So our messaging will never be, you can have an Amazon voucher or you can have a bottle of champagne if you take a meeting with me. This is all about doing something upfront for the sake of being nice, creating a moment, putting a smile on someone's face, making somebody's day to help you stand out amongst the other sea of SDRs or BDRs out there all vying for their attention, right? So all of our messaging, right, is all about doing something nice up front. So when people say, oh, is it bribery? Is it this? Is it that? Well, things are never bribery if you don't exchange something for something, right? This is all about doing something up front, the law of reciprocity. Where you can be one-to-one personalized, right? Whatever research that you've done and whatever you've kind of tagged in your CRM or you think you can craft a message around, that's what we need to tie gifts to. It's really important. There needs to be a gift. There needs to be a reason for a gift. We don't really just gift for the sake of it. We don't just chuck stuff out the whole time. It could be as simple as we're coming into a bank holiday weekend. Why don't you treat yourself to a voucher on me and pick yourself up, or get the first round in the pub, something like that, right? You can create the narrative and create the reason for the gift. Some common mistakes that we see are people not including the challenge that you solve and how your solution helps. The gift gets you into the body of that email and gets people intrigued. So therefore they then read, here's the challenge. And they sit there and go, yeah, that is a challenge I face. And maybe that solution can help. And if you targeted the right people in the right accounts, then that's when we can start to have conversations. Really soft call to actions. What we're trying to do is bring a human element to our outreach, right? I don't advocate people sending, I have some time next Friday at 2 p.m. as like part of a first email. We really want to make sure it's kind of soft and really human. Link words are absolutely vital, okay? And we'll talk a little bit about this when we go into the workshop part of the session. We need to create a narrative. We need to create a story. The messaging needs to flow and it needs to be like a really nice read. So the example on the right was just all about New York City, right? Notice on your Twitter, you're a lover of New York City because there was a photo of it. With New York City being the city never sleeps, it's constantly busy and there's tons of noise. So that's the link to the Reachdesk solution. We help people break through that noise. So linking some personalization to our value prop or some common language or link word that we use back to the challenge and solution that we help people with. And then what made this email really stand out and puts a smile on someone's face is just a simple takeaway voucher. Treat yourself to something. And then my rep, Catherine, even went so far as to find a specific restaurant where they thought that this person might enjoy by looking at some really cool reviews. So that's what we talk about using link words, making sure that we can create a story and that it all makes sense. Like there's no point just being like, hey, you're from New York. Here's a voucher on me. What's the reason for the gift? How do we craft a story? How do we create a message? Cool. So this is kind of just how we break down or how we try and structure some of our emails. So we'll start at the top with the subject line. It's really important we use short subject lines that are really unique and create intrigue. We're not talking about the ROI we can help people with or specifically the challenges. The role of our subject lines is to get into the first line of that email. And then the first line of that email, the role of that is to get people into the challenge and the solution that you're sending. One way that we can ensure that the personalization links to the challenge and therefore the value prop that you're providing is as an individual commenting on the personalization and finding some link words that allow you to talk about the challenges that you help solve, right? So a bit late to the party. I know you just saw the fabulous Dumbledore costume you wore a couple of months ago. You and your family looked incredible. You clearly have a knack for the creative. So creative is the key word for Reachdesk. We help people be more creative, right? And create magical experiences. So that's what makes this email flow. Be really specific with the gift. And again, it's not about the gift that you're going to send someone, right? This is just a suggestion that gets you into the email, that gets them reading further. The chances of them actually buying that specific gift are pretty small. But what it does do is open up the challenge and the solution that you're suggesting. Send a picture, makes it stand out in their inbox, makes it a bit cooler, makes it a bit more human. And then again, another link word that goes back to the start, and that gift is linked to a persona challenge. And always make sure you put your value prop in. Don't talk about yourselves too much, but you can't forget that you need to like tell them exactly how you think you can help them. Cool. So let's talk about strategy. There's two parts to this. One is in cadence or in sequence, and the other is how you can use it just as an individual. So at Reachdesk, we have four kind of areas that we use it throughout our outbound approach. The first one is we'll often use a piece of direct mail as part of our first email. So that personalized email, and what we're looking for are these personalized hooks and triggers. So we're looking for promotions, work anniversaries. Is it someone's birthday? You might get lucky. That'd be great when you go into a prospect's profile and it's their birthday. What a great reason to send them a gift. Have they just got some funding? Have they just received some G2 awards? Can you notice some good growth if they released a case study? Anything that you think is worth celebrating, you can absolutely tie a gift to. In-house, we use landing pages to send physical gifts to prospects in this situation. At the end, we can talk about kind of some of the admin bits about landing pages and packages. So we can park that for now, but just let us know if we need to help with your CSM after that. And then we have our second email. This is always a personalized e-gift. So this is those one-to-one personalized, that Harry Potter example, the Tim Tam example. You have two options, right? If we understand and we've done some good research and we can personalize our approach, then that's when we get our one-to-one send out. And this is best practice. It's the Amazon, it's a food delivery, it's maybe Ticketmaster or something from a retail shop. We've got loads of options like that. But that doesn't always go our way, right? We can't always have that incredible piece of personalization. So you might need to fall back on something, and this is what we call an always on campaign. These can be seasonal, it can be done around Christmas or Valentine's Day or summer. And in the workshop, this is where we'll try and come up with some always on campaigns for you guys to put in if you don't have that one-to-one personalized approach. And then as our sequences or cadences move through, we then move into some more automated, sends. And we always have an email in every single one of our cadences that is a landing page that gives our prospects the ability to send themselves something physical. That could be a specific bundle that we've put together that gets sent out from our warehouse, or it could simply be a sweet treat, some brownies or some cupcakes or some cookies, something like that. But again, it's another way to gift, and it's another touch point that just enables you to stand out. So that's in sequence, right? Email 1, personalize. If we can add a gift in there, then why not? Go for it. Email 2 is that e-gift, personalized if possible. If not, we'll think about some always on campaigns that still stand out and are a bit more creative than the other boring emails that might be in the inbox. Here's a couple of examples. So you're a qualified open water diver. Thought I'd make a splash in your inbox with a book I found on Amazon. Books are great. They're a great gift. Whilst you're exploring those amazing locations, curious to know your thoughts on digital fatigue. Currently, sales cycles are longer than ever with everyone working hybrid. It's hard to bring all the key decision makers together with everyone clogged up. Reachdesk helps sales teams accelerate their velocity through direct mail and e-gifting to stand out from the crowd. So a little bit of personalization linked to the word exploring, something that's really personal. And you can see there's a pretty cool, we've got a pretty cool response at the bottom here. That actually ended up being a closed won piece of business, which is great. On the left is an example that I sent as a first email. You've just completed your 4-year work anniversary. Huge congratulations. Your journey from SDR to head of sales development is pretty cool. Wanted to send you something that jumps out in your inbox and helps continue your celebrations. The big question is, will it be a personalized bottle of something or some delicious cookies? Okay, and then a little bit about the history we have with this account, then the challenge and how we're helping people. This example on the left is something we put together for International Women's Day. It's one of those seasonal always on campaigns. Again, it's a book. Happy International Women's Day this week. Reachdesk is celebrating women and acknowledging those who inspire us every day. The theme this year is changing climate. It's equality today for sustainable tomorrow. So with this in mind, I wanted to send you across a great book highlighting women who have altered the course of modern history and achieved greatness. Please use this Amazon voucher on me. Reachdesk is inspiring B2B marketing sales teams to cut through the noise by creating humanized experiences. So the word inspire was really important in that email. So just a couple of examples of email 1 on the top left. On the right is our personalized e-gift. Option 1. Option 2 is our fallback for an always on campaign. Cool. That's like, I'd say the really kind of basic way that my team use gifting, right? That's like the absolute non-negotiables. All of our cadences have those touch points and we write emails like that for everybody. But actually, I think the greatest value of using the platform is when we use it out of sequence and the reps come up with their own weird and wonderful ways to use it. And I really empower them to send gifts as much as they can. So I guess the theory behind this is we have an opportunity all the time when we're speaking to people and communicating people to do something different and put a smile on your face. If we do that, we become more memorable. We can create a relationship. We do something up front that makes, like I say, makes them smile. That's the aim of the game. So here's a couple of examples of what some of the team have done. So after a cold call, right, we get this all of the time. I'm so busy, back to back, I'm slammed. Can you just send me an email, please? right? Send them over the email, maybe include the content that you think is going to be relevant, but why not send them a lunch voucher that says, oh, sounds like you're super busy. Why not take a lunch voucher on me and enjoy the content that I've sent over to you? I booked a meeting once I saw one of my prospects was intending an in-person event, and I just sent her over an e-gift card, an Uber card that just said, hey, looks like you've got a busy day, want to make your life easier later, here's an Uber voucher for your journey back to the hotel. In that instance, I didn't even include a call to action. I didn't even include any content or anything. She knew who I was. I just wanted to do something nice for her. This is a non-negotiable with the team at Reachdesk pre-demo or pre-meeting. Before every single call that we have, we send out some qualification questions a couple of days before. And then on the morning of the call, we send them over either a lunch voucher or a coffee voucher that just says, hey, we're still not meeting in person, but I'd love to buy you a coffee. Look forward to meeting you later. We see an increase in demo attendance by about 20% when this happens, as opposed to when we don't send that coffee. So that's a non-negotiable for us. Means that your prospect wakes up, checks their diary, oh, there's a call that I could sack off today, or maybe I won't attend. But then a really nice message with a coffee card arrives in their inbox first thing, and it puts a smile on their face, and they're more inclined to take that meeting. Doing something up front that's just going to encourage that relationship. Spoken about content emails. Webinars, if you've got some of your key prospects are speaking on webinars, or they're attending in-person events and speaking, appreciate that people are busy. They're doing lots of things. Our prospects are really busy. They're really important. So why not give them some time back and just send them over an Uber Eats voucher or a Just Eat voucher to make life slightly easier that evening. There's all sorts of examples of this. We had one of the girls spoke to a prospect and she said on the phone, oh, I only answered the phone because you thought I was the plumber. Used a bit of humor to diffuse the situation, but it turned out the prospect didn't have enough time to chat. So what she did was sent over a lunch voucher straight after the call that said, hey, sounds like you're having a bit of a nightmare. I wanted to talk to you about X, Y, and Z, but it's probably not the right time. Here's a voucher on me. Pick yourself up some lunch while you're waiting for the plumber, right? One-to-one, really personal, doing something a little bit creative, a little bit cool, just to try and put a smile on someone's face. Loads of seasonal campaigns that you can put together. There are so many calendars that you can get lists of like reasons to gift, like National Burger Day, National Pizza Day. You can create messaging around almost anything. Random Acts of Kindness Day was recently. We got some really cool traction on that. Cool. This is where I encourage reps individually to go above and beyond, to do something a bit different, to really empower yourselves to go and put smiles on people's faces. Here are some more examples. Jonathan, Rachel, notice you're hosting your first multi-country online event. I'm sure you're in for a busy day. To make life easier, I thought you might appreciate ordering lunch in on me. Have a great event. Notice Nebulon will be at the Cloud Expo event tomorrow. Are you going to be there personally? If you are, since you'll be traveling to the event, thought you might like to make the journey a bit easier with an Uber ride, feel free to use a voucher to grab yourself some lunch instead. I'm also going to be there. We'll be sure to come over and say hi too. So that's teeing someone up to go and prospect in real life, right? How memorable is that going to be? Go and open the conversation. Hey, I sent you over that voucher. Did you pick up lunch? Would love to have a quick chat with you. On the right is a St. Patrick's Day themed campaign that we put together. Happy St. Patrick's Day to Onward the Emerald Isle. Would love to offer you this voucher. Here's a suggestion. B2B marketing teams using hyper-personalized direct mail, get the value prop in there. And on the bottom is the example of the coffee and the questions that we sent over. Really makes the beginning of that call, allows you to build rapport. Hey, I sent you over the coffee. Did you manage to collect something? Or are you going to pop out later and get it? Yeah, I will. I'll go and get myself a latte or a cappuccino. Really lightens the kind of beginning of that call and enables you to build rapport with your prospects. Cool. So this is where I want you guys to start to think about some of these always on campaigns. I want you to think about some common language that you use in your day-to-day chat, your talk tracks, and in your email writing. Think about the link words that solve your prospects' challenges. And what we'll do is I'll put up a template of an email in a minute, and you can start to, if you want, you can type in the chat and think of some ideas. And also more than happy for you guys to connect with me on LinkedIn or send me emails afterwards around your suggestions for GIFs, and we can share some ideas there. But I'm really keen for you guys to spend 5 or 10 minutes having a think about this. So things that I've done before, we talk about how we help pipelines grow for our prospects. So we send house plants, and we link some messaging around sending plants and growing pipeline. We talk a lot about a Reachdesk breaking through the noise. So we had a whole campaign around sending headphones to people, right? Similar language, talking about noise and headphones. I ran a session recently with a company who talked about connecting people and connections. I don't know, in the UK, there's a game called Connect 4 that I used to play as a kid. So we linked an Amazon voucher to the game Connect 4. It's a bit silly, but the language works, and it allows them to talk about their challenges and their prospects. Recently, I did a session with a company that sell into medical practices. So I helped them come up with a campaign around the game Operation, you know, where the little thing that buzzes and you take people's hearts and lungs out. And we created an email around that, and that enabled them to then talk about their value prop. So this is the structure that I suggest, right? Subject line, short and unique. First line, wanted to send you something that stands out in your inbox or puts a smile on your face. Wanted to send you something to make your day. That's the reason that we can get into the gift. Then we talk about the gift suggestion that links to the value prop and uses that common language. I put the Reachdesk example in here just as an image, because I think using an image in in your emails is really powerful. I think it really brings the gift to life and allows you to stand out. And then we get into those persona challenges. Using your link words, using that common language, which gets you into your value prop. And then by the end of the email, we'll talk about our call to action, right? How creative can you be? Can you relate it back to the gift? Can you make the whole email tie together? Can we really kind of start and finish that story? I don't know how long we want to take. I guess we can take kind of a few minutes if people want to put in the chat or have got any kind of suggestions on or their link words that they want to talk about. I don't know, Leah, what do you think the best way to kind of run this piece is?
I think we can put things in the chat. There's also a couple of questions in there too, if you want to hop on and address those now, or if you want to wait and do them after.
Yeah, I've got the chat out. We can I'll do the questions now while people are having a think about their link work. I will absolutely send the slides over. That is no problem at all. Sam says, am I seeing particular industries where Reachdesk is more or less successful? We have our core ICP, which is kind of B2B SaaS software companies, but in a whole different range of verticals. So no. We work with lots of companies that sell into regulated industries, that sell into IT, cybersecurity, that I talk to BDRs and they go, oh, that all of my prospects are really serious. I don't think they'd respond to this type of like creative outreach. And my message is, no matter how serious someone thinks they are or how important or how senior they are, they're still a human. They still have interests and passions and hobbies. And that's the emotional heartstrings that we're trying to play on. So no, we don't. We sell into lots of different verticals and we haven't seen any particular difference. Same, do you send different gifts for each email in a thread or sequence of emails? Really good question. So we send each email differently. I don't know why we do that actually. I don't think it matters too much, but we send our first email and then the e-gift will be a separate email. Sometimes we link a video step back to the e-gift because it then reminds them to maybe claim the e-gift, and you can start the video with, hey, look, just wanted to send you this video to inspire you to claim the e-gift that I sent you over. Sometimes we do that, but in terms of the first email and the second email, we do them separately. Cringe a little thinking about tailoring a message like this to data analytics. I can see how it works for Reachdesk outbound, but going deep into their social media and family, is that not too much? Is it better to go all in like the Dumbledore message or somewhere in between, which is kind of where I was during the trial before? So in terms of research, it's a really good question. Our best practice is we use LinkedIn and we use Twitter if it's linked to their LinkedIn. I don't advocate using Facebook or Instagram or any other socials that are personal. And I feel like LinkedIn is getting like more and more like Facebook. There's so much stuff being shared. Often people share their Twitter profiles, and Twitter's an absolute goldmine. You can look at who your prospects are following and therefore what's important to them. So they might be following a bunch of football players, or they might be following a bunch of comedians or chefs, and therefore you can gauge some of their interests. So I think it depends. It depends on what you can find out. Is it better to go all in like the Dumbledore message or somewhere in between? I mean, I guess that's up to you guys. I'd recommend going all in. I think the more creative, I think more out of the box, the better. I think people are people, and if you can put a smile on someone's face, then that's doing a good thing. The Uber voucher did result in a meeting. It just got a thank you and let's chat. And what it did is it jogged the prospect's memory to look back at the previous emails that had been sent and go, oh, that was so-and-so from Reachdesk, and they're going to give, I'll have a look. What about sending gifts without any call to action? Is this best practice? If not, what's your follow-up? It's a really good question. So I think when you're doing in-sequence things, I think when you're doing in-sequence emails, you've got to have your value prop and you've got to have your call to action. If you're working with a prospect that's slightly engaged or knows who you are, or you're doing something a bit out of the blue based on some engagement or a conversation, I think be really soft without a call to action. You can maybe be like, fancy a chat sometime. But I think if it's properly cold, I think you've got to have a call to action. If it's a little bit more warm and engaged and know who you are, then you can just do something. And then your follow up, I guess, would be a call. We go to the phones or we use video, or send an email based on what you think is going to be best. Plumber story, it seemed like a goodwill building exercise, and I like the idea of giving to people to make their lives better, but without expectations. It just feels like there would all be strings attached, which could usually sully the value, and it's striking the balance that I find challenging of being honest, genuine, when I'm really trying to book a meeting. Would really like to discuss the psychology of this if possible, because to me, it does not feel like a gift. Yeah, it's really interesting. I think this comes down to like your approach to prospecting in general. So we talk a lot in-house about the aim of our original outreach, about having a conversation. The outcome eventually, yeah, we'd love it to be a meeting. But the aim of our initial outreach, our conversations on the phone, the cold emails that we write, is about finding out information about our prospects. Do they face the challenges that we think they do? Have they ever used direct mail? Have they thought about the solution that we provide, right? And only then are we trying to book a meeting, because we only want to book a meeting if we know that we can help solve a problem and there's actually a project there. So I think that's our attitude to prospecting in general. The initial aim is to have a conversation, right? And if the conversation goes in the right way and it matches certain criteria, then cool, we'll look to book a meeting. So that's maybe how we approach it. I know that my team don't try and they're not going to try, the outcome of every single call isn't going to be to book a meeting. Challenge that we're seeing is being able to accept gifts, e.g. one large retailer had to give their coffee gift card to the company auction. So this is something to talk to your CSM about. Like, we understand that there are different gifting regulations in different countries. I think that the party line is that anything under like $25 isn't really seen as a gift. And like, it's the same as you take someone out for coffee. So I'd work with your CSM directly on those specific regions and what the kind of gifting, kind of regulations are, and we can help with what the regulations and what's worked in the past and what experiences are. It's a very case by case kind of use case there. Cool. I'm happy to move on.
Sorry, I was just going to jump in. We have one more question in the Q&A section. I recall you mentioning a landing page. Is this something that is already created or something that our organization have to set up ourselves?
Cool. So you can get landing pages in as part of your package with Reachdesk. They look something like this. So this is obviously a Reachdesk branded landing page, which you could send to a prospect that enables them to send themselves some brownies or some cupcakes. Depending on your package, you have access to these. These can be branded all with, like, obviously all of the copy is yours, the logos, the colors, everything. And then they fill in this and then they can send themselves a gift. So these, I think, are vital to BDR work, because you can include these in those first messages. Congratulations on your new role. Congratulations on your funding. Those sorts of messages. So talk to your kind of admin and therefore talk to our CS. And if you haven't got landing pages set up, I think for BDR outbound prospecting, they are absolutely vital. Cool. Please send over any examples of like kind of these always on campaigns based on your link words, or even connect with me on LinkedIn and send me your link words, and I'll help you come up with some ideas for them. Because if you can get those as you're always on, and then you go to the one-to-one personalized messages, then I think that's where we're at. Cool. What results can you expect to see? right? So what are the benchmarks? So these are 4 reps in the UK BDR team. These are their results from Q1. So gifts offered on the left, the middle column is gifts redeemed, and you see the redemption rate there. There's a slight variance between kind of 27% and 38%. Not all of these people hit target, I'll be really honest. There was like, these aren't just completely top performers, but that engagement rate, 38%, 27%, 41%, and 31% is seriously high when you compare it to other channels that you'll be using, getting engagement, right? Just because they redeem a gift doesn't automatically mean they're going to take a meeting, right? So there's still some work to do, but what it does do, it means they've engaged with you. They've engaged with your content. It gives you an excuse to start a conversation that you can start on the front foot. Hey, look, so you claimed the Amazon voucher that I sent over. What did you think of the experience? Oh, cool. Did you buy the gift that I suggested, or did you get yourself something else? You're building that relationship up front, and that's a really important thing. So these are some really high benchmarks. I think across the board, I think the average redemption rate for our customers is around 20%, is a really good thing to be aiming for. And this was just across Q1. It's important to know that you will only ever pay in your budget for gifts that are redeemed, right? So you don't have to pay for things. If you don't have to pay for a gift card unless it gets claimed. So being able to send far and wide, it means that the money that you are spending when people claim gifts, if you can convert those into opportunities, then that's what we want you to do. We want you to send less, actually. We want you to be more targeted and actually only pay for the ones that people engage with. Cool. What happens next, right? We've spent all of this time, we've built the campaigns, we've ingrained Reachdesk into our sequences. What happens next? And this is really, really important. Like I said, just because somebody claims a gift from you doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to get the meeting, right? It doesn't just appear in your diary with an AE. So we've got to be really close to it. We've got to really, really work on the follow-up. So Reachdesk gives you, in the Sends tab, the ability to see who's opened, clicked, and claimed your e-gifts. You can see when your physical gifts have been sent, shipped, and delivered. And we recommend following up on the phone, or following up via video, or following up via email really, really quickly, right? While it's top of mind. If they've just claimed an e-gift, why not give them a call? They're thinking of you, they're reading your email. So follow the intent, the information is there. We also link into people's CRM. So in the CRM, you can see when people have clicked on the links that you send them. So you know if somebody instantly has clicked on an e-gift that you've sent them, or clicked on the link to a landing page to send themselves something. So stay close to the intent. Like I said at the beginning, right? Operate a multi-channel approach. Get on the phones, send people personalized videos when they're engaging with what you're sending them. Use LinkedIn if you're connecting with them, and have a conversation about the gift rather than going directly in for the sell. Warm people up, open them up, have a conversation with them. And then if it's the right fit, then the meetings will come out the back of it, right? Rather than going in too hard and too forceful. It's really important. Reachdesk IQ is part of the platform, right? It gives you that access to the data on what reps are doing it best. What campaigns are they sending? Review it. What's gaining traction? What's not? What campaigns are you sending that aren't working? And learn from those. But more importantly, double down on what the good reps are doing. The people that are seeing success with Reachdesk, ask them, what campaigns are they sending? What examples of e-gifts are they sending? Are they just sending Uber Eats with recommendations to restaurants, or are they sending Amazon vouchers, right? Double down on what's working. Share your wins. Let the team use it to scale. We share all of the time. The team are sharing e-gifts that they send that they're proud of. Just found out that someone is really into rugby, so I've sent them this e-gift. Just found out that someone has just moved from Australia to New York, so I sent them this gift. And that gets everyone's creative juices going and empowers people to be really creative with their approach. And I think that's about it, guys. Like I say, happy for you all to connect on LinkedIn. I'd love to hear some of the kind of examples you've kind of come up with. I think we've got another question in the chat. How do you avoid it being sent into their spam/junk mail? Because I know oftentimes if you send lots of links, it has a higher chance of going to junk mail for security reasons. I don't know the answer to this, but I don't think it really affects the way that we do it. We put links to content in all of our emails. We put links and gifts in lots of our emails, and it doesn't go into the spam. So I don't know if that's like your email settings or maybe your prospects. I'm not entirely sure. I'm not an expert on that. I don't know if either Marcus or Leah have any thoughts on that. Cool. Unless there's any other questions, I'm going to give you all 20 minutes back. Thank you for joining. Like I said, connect with me on LinkedIn. Would love to hear some of your thoughts around your gifts and hear about some of the stories that you've seen success with. It's all about doing something upfront that puts a smile on someone's face. It's about that law of reciprocity. Do something different that's going to stand out in their inbox, and that opens the door to your solution. If you're targeting the right people in the right companies and the right personas, you understand the challenges that they face, and you have a solution that can help, then all you need to do is get to that solution. And sending gifts to put smiles on people's faces is one way that you can start to open it.